financing point, because we can't do the share loss.
You can't use what?
The share, whatever app, the share plus, or the other one you put on there, it never goes. So right now. Set the mail up.
Brian, you need a sec?
Yep.
This is a meeting of the Township Committee, December 1st, 2014. The notice requirements provided for in the Open Public Meetings Act have been satisfied. Notice that this meeting was properly given by transmission to the Asbury Park Press, the Star Ledger, the Independent, and the Tuber Times, and by posting at the Middletown Township Municipal Building and filing with the Township Clerk on January 10th, 2014. Committeeman Fiore.
Here.
Committeeman Massell.
Here.
Committeeman Sharpenberger.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Severino.
Here.
Mayor Murray. Here. Please rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'd like to ask for a moment of silence to honor the troops serving worldwide defending our freedoms, constitutions, and way of life. Thank you. At this time on our agenda, we have the Township Committee hearing on precious metals license.
Okay, I'll just kick this off and explain, I think, process-wise how the Township Committee should proceed. This is, I'll explain what this is about. It's somewhat of a unique situation where the denial of a license for precious metals and gems in the township was appealed by the applicant in this instance to the Township Committee. It's a process to which individual applicants were denied the licenses for the sale of precious metal, purchase and sale of precious metals and gems within the township. It's a procedure they may avail themselves of under our ordinance process here, which was last amended in 2010, where I think a good majority of you were on the committee at that time. What I'm going to do procedurally is the applicant here is represented by counsel. Chief Weber is also here, who his police department conducts the investigations in these matters. So they'll both have an opportunity to address the Township Committee. Procedurally, this is administrative procedure before the Township Committee. It's not a court hearing. Nobody's going to be giving sworn testimony that, as in the normal course of public meetings of the Township Committee, it will be recorded. Minutes will be kept, recorded audio recording, and minutes are also kept by the municipal clerk. So what I'll do is just set forth the basic ordinance provisions and process, and then I will ask Chief Weber to present what his recommendation was to the township clerk in this denial and the basis for that. Generally speaking, I'll just summarize that I don't believe there's really any factual disputes. It's just a discretionary determination in this instance as to based on the facts presented as to whether the Township Committee believes that the determination made in denying this license should be overruled in this instance, that administrative determination, or that should be overruled by the Township Committee based on the facts presented. I believe that everyone in the packets has material regarding this that was also provided to the applicant's council over the last month. And there was also a letter submitted within the last 24 hours from the Borough of Kingsburg, from the administrator there, in support of the applicant's position, which was also circulated, I know, by electronic mail by the Township Clerk to the Township Committee members this earlier today. So Chapter 202 of the Code of the Township of Middletown provides a process for the investigation of applicants whereby the township clerk refers applicants for licenses to sell, purchase and sell precious metals and gems to the chief of police, who institutes such investigation of the applicant's moral character and business responsibility as he or she deems necessary for the protection of the public welfare. Upon completion of investigation, the chief of police shall return the application or a copy thereof to the township clerk, accompanied by his or her recommendations as to whether the license should be issued or denied. If the recommendation of the chief of police is to deny the license, the grounds for such recommendation shall be stated. Grounds for recommending denial of a license may include information indicating that the applicant is not of good moral character or is of questionable business responsibility, and a recommendation of denial should be given if the applicant has been convicted of any crime involving dishonesty, fraud, deceit, or misrepresentation. Upon receipt of the recommendation of the chief of police, the township clerk shall issue or deny the license accordingly. I'll just add in her administrative discretion. Any person aggrieved by, obviously if you can't go and have a license, you can't engage in business of buying or selling precious metals or gems within the township's borders. Any person aggrieved by such a denial may make an appeal to the township committee, which may affirm or reverse such denial as it deems appropriate, which is what the process by which we are here tonight. At this time, we'll just ask if Chief Weber could just present the basis for his recommendation that was made to the township clerk. There was an application made, and this goes back to I'll just summarize before the chief begins. There was an application, the application was for a renewal of a license within the township that was made on July 24th of 2014, and referred to the chief's office and investigated by the police department. And that application and what will be the substance of the discussion here tonight was disclosure of an arrest in the borough of Kingsburg, which was for obstruction but downgraded to an ordinance violation. And I'll let the chief fill the township committee in on the results of that investigation to the extent that he deems appropriate, and then have an opportunity for applicant's counsel or the applicant to address the township committee with their version of the side of the story.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Detective Sullivan was assigned to conduct a background investigation on the application by the applicant. He did so, forward a report to my office on about August 23rd. He and I had several discussions subsequent to that. I asked him to do more fact-checking. There were a couple of underlying charges that we had concerns about. 4 charges had been filed by the Department of Weights and Measurements from Consumer Affairs, and my understanding was that there were 2 guilty pleas, one to a charge of not issuing a proper receipt, which is something that we take very seriously. Detective Sullivan typically oversees the licensed precious metals operators within our jurisdiction, and from time to time, usually on an annual basis, we conduct what we would say is an integrity test where an undercover officer, typically from another jurisdiction, will go in, posing as a customer attempting to sell gold, and I'll go through the process to see if the merchant follows the established rules and issues a proper receipt. We had one instance here 2 years ago where a merchant did not comply with that. As you're aware, we revoked the license. We have not reinstated it since. In this case, I felt that there was documented evidence that there was a similar lapse in business practices there, which in my mind would have precluded him from operating here. There was also another instance involving Kingsburg Police Department over a piece of jewelry that was suspected to be stolen, and my understanding from Detective Sullivan that he was told by the officer in Kingsburg that the applicant was requested not to sell that was suspected to be stolen, and apparently subsequently it had changed hands at that point. There was a charge filed, and I understand it was downgraded to a borough ordinance. But again, first and foremost in my mind, procedurally, was the discrepancy with the improper receipt. And to me, the business itself is fraught with customers and trafficking stolen jewelry, so we need to be very vigilant to protect the community and the residents from illegal sales and jewelry. So that was my biggest concern.
Are there any questions in the township committee to the chief at this time?
This is a new application.
Yes, sir.
It was a newer renewal.
This is a new, now, if I, New in Middletown, I think it was going to be part of an existing business. I think they were going to be going into partnership. The existing business, I believe, has since folded, if I'm not mistaken.
This is not a, this is not, this is a new application, but it wasn't a previously run business in Middletown.
My understanding initially is the applicant was going to be going into business, operating under the license of an existing precious metals license holder that we had that has since gone out of business since this matter has met the other businesses filled up shop.
Thank you.
So he would be the sole proprietor, right?
At this point, I believe the business is now defunct, so I guess he would be looking to open up a new business at this point.
Any other questions for the chief? Otherwise, I'll have counsel for the applicant present. And then if there's any follow-up, we can bring the chief back up and vice versa with the applicant's counsel or the applicant themselves. Any other questions? Okay. Mr. Lloydman, Larry Lloydman, counsel to the applicant, RN10.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As Mr. Nelson has indicated, I do represent Mr. Henn, who has an existing business in Kingsburg. This is a new business venture for him in Middletown. There was a previous business of a similar nature at the same location, but that business has closed, and Mr. Henn's business would be completely separate from that. It's not as if he's going into partnership or anything like that. This would be his business. I understand the chief's concerns, and I think that that's the reason why the committee adopted the ordinance a number of years ago to regulate this particular field of commerce. The ordinance, which Mr. Nelson read from, at least the beginning paragraphs, requires many different types of record keeping, photographs, written records, and so forth, to make sure that there is no issue as to stolen property, or if property is later determined to be stolen, it's relatively easy to track down who it is that brought it in. So I think that your ordinance does address those types of situations, and the real question is whether or not Mr. Henn is of proper character to receive a license of this type. We did provide you with a letter from Ray O'Hare, who is the manager in Kingsburg. As I'm sure you're aware, he used to be the police chief in Kingsburg until he took over as manager, and he gives what can only be described as a glowing endorsement of Mr. Henn and his business practices. So if there is to be a question as to Mr. Henn's character, it obviously has to be from someplace other than Kingsburg. It is true that he did have some issue with the weights and measures people a number of years ago. That was a record-keeping violation as to indicating serial numbers. He tells me that the weights and measures people were there in his store many, many times. He's been in business for many years, and this was a minor record-keeping violation to which he did plead guilty. He has not had any further problems with them in the last 5 or 6 years, and has continued to run his business in a very legitimate and upstanding manner. As far as the other problem with a charge in Kingsburg, what really happened there, if you read through the report, is that there was a family dispute as to the ownership of a particular piece of jewelry, which was brought in by one member of the family to Mr. Henn, and another member of the family came in to buy it back. The police had some interest in recovering it, but never charged anybody with it as being a stolen item, because it wasn't really stolen. It was more or less a domestic dispute, and that's the reason that what started out as a somewhat more substantive charge ended up being a borough ordinance violation for disorderly conduct or something of that type. Your ordinance specifically refers to a conviction of any crime involving dishonesty, fraud, deceit, or misrepresentation. And there certainly was not a conviction of a crime here. A borough ordinance is not a crime, and the conviction did not involve dishonesty, fraud, deceit, or misrepresentation. So really, according to the standards in the ordinance, Mr. Henn is entitled to this license. He has, as I said, operated his business for many years. As with any business, there may be one or two minor discrepancies that are going to occur, but he is on obviously excellent terms with the officials in Keansburg, and he looks forward to being able to run a similar type of business in Middletown and to be on good terms with everyone in Middletown. And there's really nothing in his background or in his character or in his business history that would suggest that the application should be denied. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
How many years has your client, Mr. Whitman, been in business?
I think
12 years.
about 12 years.
The 12 years have all been in Keansburg?
Yes.
Any other questions of the governing body?
Okay, thank you.
Chief Weber would like to, if you'd like to add anything this time.
Just clarify one issue. The weights and measurement issue is 2010 was the occurrence. Free from a portion of the complaint. Then the jurisdiction's court failed to issue the seller of precious metals a proper serialized receipt containing the name, address, and signature of the seller of the precious metals at the location of the business in Kingsburg. That is the underlying problem with trafficking stolen merchandise, is the anonymity of the sellers coming on stolen merchandise. So maybe the issue of the serial number is the serial number receipt, but it's the information filling the part of the document would be my biggest concern. I believe the other matters too.
Any other questions for the chief?
Have there been any other infractions or any other issues from that?
He doesn't
time?
operate in Kingsburg, but to my knowledge, there was 4 complaints from weights and measurements in 2010.
You mean in Middletown?
No, he does not have business here, so the investigation conducted by our detective was regarding the business practices in Kingsburg. We've had no concerns with that entity he was going to go into business with here, that's since got out of business.
Does weights and measures only get involved if there's a complaint, or do they sort of monitor?
I do believe they monitor businesses.
Yeah, once there's a complaint, they monitor,
I'm not sure what would initiate their investigation if it was based upon a complaint or it's just monitoring.
Have there been any other, I guess this question might be for you, Mr. William. Is this the only business that, he's been in this business in 12 years, I guess you said in Keansburg, but any previous business in other municipalities under the same business?
For Mr. Lloyd.
Mr. Lloyd, not Chief, I'm sorry.
I have whatever.
My client better answer that because he's moved.
Yes. What do you want to know?
Yeah, well, my
What other
question is-
business have you been in before this?
Oh, before I opened the store, I owned 22 houses, 11 discount drugstores, nursing home, movie theater, 5 hotels.
Any other in this same type of business?
I have a store in Elizabeth on North Broad Street, and I have an office in Manhattan. And the serial numbers is, if they would have told me I needed serial numbers, I would have put it on there. I give the proper receipt and everything. It's just that they came in and said, hey, you know what, you don't have serial numbers on this. And I hate to say, it was during election time and I was running for council. But it was just, if they would have said, the same guy, I've been dealing with him 9 years. If he would have said, hey, you need a serial number, I would have put a serial number on it.
So you have a similar business in Elizabeth that you had, or course, continue to have in Keensburg.
Yes.
And how long have you had that business?
9 years?
And any,
Nothing.
Chief, was there any
I would have to ask
background into that?
Detective Sullivan, my family business.
Brian, would it be appropriate to ask about the location of residence, given that he's got 2 business locations?
You can ask whatever you want, and through council can determine whether or not he wants to answer it.
Well, I didn't know what the question was.
What's the residence of the owner?
He lives in Kingsburg.
I live in Kingsburg,
Okay, thank you.
originally from Portsmouth.
Any other questions of either the applicant's counsel or the chief of police?
I think the only question I have, which can't be answered by the chief at this point, is, obviously there's a dispute as to the record, from my perspective, there's a dispute as to the record keeping and/or how critical the offense was potentially in Keensburg. My question seems to hinge on, okay, I could look at that 2 ways, but my question then hinges on, have we done any background investigation on the business, and if you have a similar business in Elizabeth? Has there been any issues in that? I know the applicant says there are none, but I take him for his word. Unless I have something there, it almost seems that
That one
would
belongs
be relevant.
that one belongs to my son.
So
It
that
was
one's
mine, and I
relevant.
gave it to him a couple of years ago, so he's been running it. I concentrate on here.
Chief, maybe you could just elaborate on how you, just generally speaking, how these investigations are conducted, what's looked into, what
Right.
things I think that's kind of your question, is
Yeah.
what sort of background check, if you can reveal that, I don't know.
I'll ask the detective step in for a second. I spoke briefly with Detective Sullivan. He does run a criminal history check, which was negative. He also runs a court history of complaints related to the business. And again, of course, is concerned with 4 complaints related to measurements, and then one from the Kingsburg detective. Again, I know Detective Sullivan monitors and oversees most of the facilities in our jurisdiction, and he has a good working relationship with the Kingsburg detectives. And I'm going by his judgment and experience. I support his recommendation not to issue.
Greg, when you make a recommendation like that, you base it on other denials for similar infractions? Or
Well, specifically, in our case, we have the exact same set of circumstances with Nancy Drewers in town here. That's what they're doing now. Gold purchase and improper receipt was not issued, and we revoked their, charged them with borough ordinance violation, and revoked their precious metals license at that time. So to me, the fact pattern was substantially similar.
So you've denied a renewal on similar
We
infractions?
revoked an existing one for that infraction.
I remember
it a couple of years ago.
It was 2 years ago.
Any other questions for the chief or council? Anything that Mr. Lloydman would like to add at this point, just to the township committee? If not, I'll determine everybody's concluded in whatever they want to say, and then the committee can make a determination.
No, I think, I've expressed our position, and take the action they're going to take.
Okay. All right, and last chance for the committee to ask any questions of the parties. If that concludes the questions, just give the direction to the clerk, the township, to the mayor. If you would like to take a vote at this time, whether to accept the recommendation of the chief of police and the administrative action taken by the township clerk in denying the license, or whether you'd like to entertain a motion through the mayor to overturn the denial and grant the applicant's license to sell, to purchase and sell precious metals and gems in the township. So through the mayor, I don't know if you would like to entertain a motion either way, or if anyone else would like to entertain a motion either way for what I'll call A, to sustain the denial, or B, to overturn the denial.
So just sustain the denial.
Does anybody have
So there's
anything to
a-
say? No. What did you say?
There's a motion, I believe Mr. Massell has made a motion to sustain the denial. That's,
I'll second that.
clerk is a motion and a
Committeeman Fury?
second.
Yes.
Committeeman Massell?
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedambrino?
Yes.
Mayor Murray?
Yes.
Motion carries to sustain.
Thank you.
You're gonna give me a more formal
Yeah,
resolution?
if you would like, we can memorialize that in a resolution adopted at our next meeting. I don't see that being a problem.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Listen,
Yeah, I'm just listening.
Back after the agenda.
Yep. Under our known action items tonight, we have a public hearing on ordinance 2014-3120, ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Middletown in the County of Monmouth, State of New Jersey, accepting the conveyance of real property from the County of Monmouth related to the relocation of Phalanx Road rights of way.
So moved.
Second.
Committeeman Fury.
Yes.
Committeeman Massell.
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedambrino.
Yes.
Mayor Murray.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt ordinance on its second and final reading. At this time, we have ordinance for introduction, 2014-3121, an introduction of ordinance amending salaries for management positions.
So moved.
Committeeman Fiore.
Yes.
Committeeman Massell.
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedambrino.
Yes.
Mayor Murray.
Yes.
Motion carries to introduce ordinance 2014-3121, first reading, and a public hearing will be scheduled for December 15, 2014. Our next ordinance for introduction, we have 2014-3122, an introduction of ordinance to amend Chapter 127 fees of the Township of Middletown regarding dog and cat license.
Motion to introduce.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore.
Yes.
Committeeman Massell.
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedambrino.
Yes.
Mayor Murray.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt this ordinance, or pass this ordinance on first reading with a public hearing to be held December 15, 2014.
Did you need to have public comment on 2014-3120?
We can open for public comment if you want.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry.
Is there anyone wishing to make a comment to 2014-3120? Seeing no members of the public wishing to make comment to 2014-3120, move to close public portion.
Committeeman Fiore.
Yes.
Committeeman Massell.
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedambrino.
Yes.
Mayor Murray.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt ordinance 2014-3120 on second and final reading. At this time, we have, I'd like to ask the Township Committee to adopt a consent agenda, which would include Resolution 14-289 through 14-294 for
So moved.
Committeeman Fiore.
Yes.
Committeeman Massell.
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedambrino.
Yes.
Mayor Murray.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt the consent agenda. This time we have Resolution 14-288, resolution authorizing payment of bills for December 1st, 2014.
So,
Second.
Committeeman Fiore.
Yes.
Committeeman Purcell.
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberger.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedambrino.
Yes.
Mayor Murray.
Yes.
Motion carries to adopt Resolution 14-288. Our agenda items for December 15th will include certificates of appreciation and proclamations for life-saving awards for firefighter rescue of man during the fire. Proclamation recognizing Jim Davis for outstanding community service. Approval of minutes for September 2014 and October 2014. We'll have resolutions, bingos, and raffle applications and volunteer firefighter applications. Tonight's discussion will begin with Lincroft Village Green Irrigation System.
Yes, the Lincroft Village Green Association is requesting permission from the committee to install a irrigation system at Lincroft Village Green Park, at Newman Springs Road and Old Phalanx Road. This would be in the form of a donation to the township, that they would pay for the installation and the town would pay for the water service perpetually. That permission is needed, the committee.
What are they irrigating? Are they irrigating just the lawn, the
lawn.
flowers, is there vegetation? I mean,
The lawn and then some trees they plant there occasionally.
Ted, this has to be done through a resolution.
I don't know, I think we just had to bring it to the attention. This is similar to the building that was donated by the Lincroft Little League at the field there. Because it's township property, it has to be sort of done like a donation. Not sure if we need a resolution.
I mean, yeah, I would suggest anything relating to improvements on property or any commitments of the governing body to pay for water service or maintenance and so forth, that should be addressed by.
So let me ask two questions. And I think it's, first, do we have any estimation of the cost on an annual basis of the irrigation? I mean, it's a relatively large area, not probably larger than a few fields.
You enjoying the conversation?
This is,
I don't think you can even.
we didn't do any calculations on the water volume. We do have an irrigation system at the site, but it doesn't cover the main area, the center of this green. I could probably come back with a calculation, an estimate of what it will run.
Well, the other issue would be who controls the irrigation system, who controls when it's on and off, what's the timing of it?
It's city water, it's
Is there water there?
it's water service there already.
And my second question would be on, after the installation, the maintenance of the irrigation system would fall to the township's responsibility.
Yes.
why are we needing this if we haven't had it previously? Is there a problem there? Is there a reason that
Again,
we're looking for this?
I don't want to speak for the Village Green Association, but like any lawn that's not irrigated, will turn brown in summer and doesn't necessarily die off, but there are some trees being planted there that, I guess their intent is to have them watered and maintained. Really hasn't been an issue from what we've seen, but again, I can't speak for the Village Green, who's a little bit closer to that part.
I'd just like some more definitive answers to the water volume and the issue you brought up as to the control of the water. And then,
And the cost of the maintenance is going to be interesting.
well, the cost of maintenance is going to be hard because, you don't know what's going to, sprinkler that breaks, what's the cost of sprinkler? It all
Yes.
depends on.
Essentially, it would be another system we'd have to purge at the end of each season and repair if it did freeze.
Now, if they're asking for permission to put it in, and what does that mean? They're gonna actually put it in, have a contractor put it in?
Yes.
They're asking for permission to physically do it?
To have a contractor install it, right?
If something goes wrong, that's on us.
Well, I'm sure we'd have to make sure the contractor was insured before we let them do that. It'd be just like any contractor working on our property.
What's the square footage? You don't have it.
I don't have it exactly.
I'm curious.
I can come up with that information for you if you like. the numbers you can see, it's probably about 50 sprinklers. And alternatively, you know, if water volume is an issue, a well could be proposed, a little bit of a well there too. We thought that we'd be paying for the electricity on that, the township would at least. So again,
Water
that's,
would be free.
well water would be free if it's available, you know, if it would work there. But again, the electricity pump would be a cost still.
You have to decide right now.
No.
I'd rather not decide right now, but I'm only speaking for
Yeah,
myself.
I know there's a member of the public that will have some further, you know, clarification in
Make
their
some
public
comments.
comments, but, in the
Yeah.
public comments, but I think, you know, if we can get some further.
I'll get some specifics
We can make a better decision.
on the water use.
Okay. Great, thanks.
We have the Oak Hill Estates performance bond release. The community development mortgages. Villages at Chapel Hill performance bond release. And Title 39 for slow and caring sale.
Jerry had some things to add.
Okay.
too.
Okay? Yeah. A couple of things, and I had spoken to the mayor and I believe Committeeman Fiore at various times about a faith-based initiative. And there is precedent for doing it at certainly the national level. The state has one. And it would be a little bit different than maybe what's done at the federal and state level in that what we would do is try and identify services that are out there, volunteer. And this is almost an outgrowth of what we saw during Sandy, where we had volunteers come in and sort of 35,000 meals without any cost to the township. So if we can identify the needs of people in town here and sort of match them up, and you hear this a lot from volunteer groups, churches, that they don't always know unless they're contacted where the needs are. And this would be a way of offering a service to township residents, certainly without any impact on our budget. It would just be really, a clearinghouse almost. And Brian, what I did, I wrote out some text and some bullet points on what we hope to achieve. So I'll send it to you. Maybe we can formulate it and memorialize it in a resolution.
Sure.
So that's one. Next would be an economic profile for the website. I think I spoke to Mr. Mercantante about this. And I heard this from a very large global corporation, where the first thing they do when they look for locations is they go to the website, a town website. And he was saying, you cannot believe how hard it is to get a hold of somebody if they're interested in looking at a particular municipality. So I thought it would be a good idea for us to, number one, have an economic development profile, or economic profile, a little bit about the town, the type of industries here, maybe some demographic information about the type of workforce we have, and a contact for businesses interested in coming in. Whether it's me as representative of the Economic Development Committee or whoever we want, but something that would make it easy for businesses to come in and contact somebody and know who to speak to. And a lot of times they'll just throw up their hands and go to where they get a response or something to that effect. Sorry. We're looking at bringing in a cough drop manufacturer. May take a while. And the third thing, and the mayor and I have been discussing this, the national motto resolution. I think it's something that we should maybe put on for the next regular meeting to pass. It's one of those growing sort of initiatives across the country. I think it would be good for Middletown, to show its support. Completely symbolic, but certainly good. Middletown's at the forefront of everything, it seems. We're one of the first towns in New Jersey, so we've always been standing up for traditions. That this is a tradition we should really get behind and certainly show our visible support for.
Excuse me, Jerry, it's a national...
The national motto resolution.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
Motto, okay.
The broken accent is tough with motto. But national motto resolution, I think everybody got it in their email. But we've gotten a few of them. And it looks like a great initiative, and I think it's good for us to get behind. So, and that's pretty much it. But the faith-based initiative, we can have that on the agenda for next meeting. I'll get that to you, Brian, tomorrow. And the economic profile, we can sort of work on that. Is Todd still here? Because Todd would have to be the one to put it up, maybe have a separate link even for the...
Yeah, we'd have to come up with
Thinking about
text.
Middletown.
Yeah.
With
You
some
know, and
demographic information.
it could be bullets, it doesn't have to be too wordy,
Yeah.
but it should be something that gives us a little overview of what we have, what we would like to see come in maybe, and, you know, sort of give a pat on the back to our workforce. I think we have a lot of advanced degrees per capita in Middletown, that sort of thing. So, no offense, probably have a lot of lawyers and you know, services like that. So if you folks are interested in that, we want to know.
I do think, Barry, to echo your sentiment on the faith-based initiative, post-Sandy, especially with some of the work that many of us in the committee did, I mean, there were many outreach organizations that stepped up. New Monmouth Baptist Church. There's still one in Homedale that's helping people build houses. I can't remember the name of the church.
Gateway, too.
Gateway, yeah, that's what it was. But anyway, I think it would be good if we can intertwine that initiative with our volunteer corps. And I know I see a member, President Mr. Payne, who really kind of was our kind of faith-based initiative, you know, kind of linchpin to try to find these organizations. I think a more structured process would be well needed.
And, you know, for instance, my church, they do over $2 million a year in charitable works, a lot of food delivery, but some churches specialize in shelters and things like that. So it's a great thing, and you know what? My personal opinion is government should be out of this stuff and let the experts do it. And this is a way of getting the experts into people who really need the help, and you know, everybody benefits. So that's it.
Mayor, if I may, Jerry, with regard to the economic profile, isn't there something that the county has developed, specifically Freeholder are known, that kind of had economic overlays? If, let's say a particular business wanted to locate in the county would say, hey, listen, go to Middletown because they have opportunities for this type of business there.
Right.
So maybe we could link it to that type of county initiative.
We can, but I think it's a little bit more specific to municipalities by doing this, because a lot of businesses don't want to come in and get, you know, frustrated out of town by a planning board or, you know, a cool reception. So they want to know ahead of time if it's a viable place to locate a business or not, and you know, be able to make a decision there, and certainly speak to somebody to sort of kick the tires before they make a commitment to a certain area. So that's helpful, but I think this gives them the opportunity to really meet with us one-on-one individually. So if they have a nice little snapshot of what the town is all about, what they have to offer, what we have to offer, I think we're going to be way ahead of the game. You know, it's every town for himself, you know, so we really have to be aggressive. So that's all.
Thanks, Jerry.
Okay, we have township comments.
Committee on myself.
Just one comment, and I won't elaborate, because I'm sure we'll be talking about the same thing. Our VFW KIA signs ceremony that we had last week was phenomenal. It was just incredibly moving, and congratulations to everyone who ran it. Committee Scharfenberger, who started the Veterans Affairs Committee, Fury, who's heavily involved with the signs, the mayor. So awesome event. That's all I'll say.
Thanks. I'm trying to pull this out, I'm sorry. Committeeman Fiore.
Thank you, Mayor. Two quick things. First, as my colleague William Massell said, with regards to that program, fantastic program that Veterans Affairs is putting together, and one that is very rewarding to see, and one that I think in our ski district in Middletown is very warranted, because very often you can go past a street and have no idea why a street is named what it's named. Now I think you have a much better view than the children of Middletown, and especially when it's near a school, as a couple of them are, I think is the right tribute. What I would like to see, and I'll ask it for the committee's approval in January, because I know we have a lot of administrative things to do. In December is maybe a resolution or something, or maybe it's just a letter, maybe it's a resolution, kind of urging the same kind of passage to other municipalities. I mean, it is a very, inexpensive way to really honor those who gave the ultimate sacrifice, dying for all of our freedom. And I just think other towns just don't recognize how easy it is to do. And I hope that we can to be that model town, to have every town that has KIA soldiers recognized by letting them know if they name a street after them, having a designated sign. So we'll figure out the best way to get the word out to other municipalities. I urge them to do the same. The only other thing I wanted to bring up quickly this evening is something I mentioned earlier in the year, and that's the prevalence of LED signs. LED signs continue to pop up at a very fast pace. I think the trend is that they will continue to do so. I would ask, and I'm going to formally now ask the attorney with the committee's blessing for action in January, because I know we got enough to do prior to that first meeting. But I'd like in the January or at latest February meeting for us to be introducing an ordinance which does not outlaw LED signs, because it's not my intent to put an outlawing on it, but I think we do need to regulate how often a sign can flash, how potentially colors that a sign can utilize, because aside from being a massive distraction, it's just unsightly. I'm sorry. It's just that it's a quality of life issue it's starting to be for me, and some of these are just getting out of control, flashing every 3 seconds. And we had a shared services committee meeting this evening. I mentioned it to the schools to the school board upon a passage of some kind of ordinance which has potential restrictions that the attorney can talk about within our borders. We can find the legalities. I think we would be, not be doing our residents a service if we didn't get our arms around this, because this is going to become, towns are going to start looking like Las Vegas, because they're becoming cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So I hope that we can take action by February. So, that, Mayor, appreciate your time tonight.
Okay. Yeah, I'll weigh in on the sign ceremony, which was great, and it was surprisingly, I think, well attended. I didn't expect to see 30, 40, 50 people at each stop, which was really good to see, and a lot of relatives. And I think really, there were a few tears shed, I think, too, tears of joy, that is. I think that their loved ones weren't forgotten, number one, and their sacrifice certainly wasn't overlooked. So I think as a community, really have a lot to be proud of, to be out in front of this and really show our support. And that reminder, Ocean Avenue School. Those kids who are going to ride by on a school bus 2 or 3 times a day are going to be reminded that there's a veteran who made the sacrifice so they can take that ride to school every day. So it was really a great day, and I think we do 25 more we have.
I think it's the 29 more. I thought the final count was like 30 and change.
And it's amazing how you notice them now all over town. Places I never realized before. It's great. And it's a testament to the Veterans Affairs Committee. We really put together a really strong, aggressive, energetic group of veterans, and it really is paying dividends. Sometimes when you form these committees, it's hit and miss sometimes. You don't always know how they're going to respond, if they're going to show up to meetings. I think they have perfect attendance, these guys, except for medical reasons, maybe. So it really is, it's a good thing to see all around to have such a strong presence here for the veterans. And on that note, still December 7th, this coming Sunday is the remembrance ceremony at the VFW. They have it every year. This year just so happens to be on December 7th, a Sunday. And so it's always a great ceremony, and really kind of reminds you of a sacrifice that's now 73 years old. Yeah, so, and there still are a few, one of them 99 years old, from Normandy. So it really is a great thing. So it's a good thing to be a part of while they're still here, and hopefully will go on even though they're not here. So, that's all I have. Thank you.
What time is it, sir?
I think it's either 11 or 1, but
It's on the calendar.
yeah,
They can view it.
it's varied over the years, so you have to watch.
Deputy Mayor?
Thank you, Mayor. So, two comments. One, just to add to the Veterans Affairs street sign dedication. As all of my colleagues have noted, it was a great event, great day, well attended. And, you know, as a member of the governing body, it's not all that often that members of the public write into the mayor's office to commend the Veterans Affairs Committee on the job that they did, and that is fantastic to see. And you know, as much as I would like to think, as a member of the governing body, that everything that we do here can be appreciated by township residents, we know that when things are done right, we get a great commendations from into the mayor's office from residents. So it was a great event. Secondly, to add to Committeeman Fury's comment with regard to the signs, I'm going to propose that in addition to the proposed LED sign ordinance, there should be less signs and more trees. And we would, I'd look to see a draft at the beginning of the year with regard to the existing street trees in the public right-of-way, so that we can protect those with regard to removal of those without authorization by the township. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to be brief. I will mention the veteran signs one more time, and Tony brought it to my attention. The Asbury Park Press, we had over 2,000 likes on that, so it's great that the community is able to recognize that, and it was a very moving experience. And as Tom Garrison says, who's been deeply entrenched in all of this, now the signs tell a story. So you'll be able to look at those signs, and you'll be able to see when that person was, made that sacrifice, what conflict they were in. And the one thing that they said, Ted, at every single ceremony that we had, he gave you credit. He said that you can't, yeah, he gave you credit, and he said that you were the one that came up with the idea for the gold star, which represents the family and the mother. So really everybody's represented on that, and the story, I think, is complete for the most part. So very touching, very moving, and just fantastic.
I forgot about the gold star until Committeeman Fury was talking, and I thought about what a great idea it was.
Good job, Ted. So the only other thing I am going to mention, if you've seen the signs around, you see that we've been driving for food in conjunction with different places in town, and we've collected over 750 pounds of food just from this initiative. So we're really excited about that. We're going to continue driving for food until December. All the food goes directly to the Middletown Food Pantry, which was at an all-time low this year, sadly, but I think we're restocking it nicely now. And there have been donation baskets in various businesses around town, as well as the library, the senior center, town hall, the Johnson Gill, and the MAC. So everybody's really chipped in with this, and trying to collect food for our food pantry, and it's a good feeling. So it gets everybody in the holiday spirit of giving, and I do wish everybody a wonderful holiday, since we're going into that mode now, being December 1st. So with that, I'm going to open up to public comment. Is there anyone from the public wishing to make a public comment? Yes. Just your name and address, sir, please.
Abe Littenberg, 41 Hickory Lane in Lincroft. I'm the director of Lincroft Village Green, past president. The offer to put the sprinklers in was necessary because the drip irrigation system that has been there has not worked for 10 years. And we were interested in putting these copper beech trees, which we got from some commission on Arbor Day, and it's all very nice. Things are working very well. In order to sustain them, all of our members have been carrying water and dumping it on it. They have a collar which holds the water, and they've been bringing the water as volunteers. the sprinkler system that we would offer to replace the drip system is not working. And by the way, the controller is down. There's, if you had an opportunity, an engineer did come out and see that it's kaput. So this system was considered in 3 phases. The center area is the first phase, and that's where these copper beech trees, which they're beautiful, they'll grow and they'll give shade. We paid for those, that was not a problem. And the center area is 2190 square yards. That's the area that we're considering right now. The cost to us is about $6,000. There's 2-year warranty in which the openings and closings would be taken care of. After the warranty, the startup cost would be $125 and the shutdown cost $125. But we're very anxious to see this sustained, and if you asked us to pay that, we would pay that. I mean, that's not much money. But what our interest is, we've had some bad summers, and not this summer, thankfully, but in the past, it's going brown. The flowers have died, the trees have died. We've lost a lot there. We like to keep it as pretty as when it started out. I have the drawings, the blueprints. I have 3 bids, and with your permission, we'd like to spend some money as a donation to the township.
So 2,100 square feet or square yards?
This is-
That sounds wrong.
Well, let me ask the fellow who would know.
It's probably square.
Square yards. Square yards. Wow. This goes back to the plan from 10 years ago, and it says 2,190 square yards topsoil. So assuming that's the area within, which I don't recall 10 years later,
That's not the scale. But I think the concern is, I think the drip irrigation system was only located up on the street.
Right up here.
stuff in Human Springs.
So if you look at your map there, the drip irrigation system that was in place is along the road. This, I think the concern is, Abe, that this whole area now is going to be irrigated, that was not irrigated before. So obviously the water volume is going to be expensive, several $1,000s a year for the township. That's something what the committee is asking me to get more information on,
Yes, I understand.
which I could do.
What is the drip? I don't know what that is.
It's like a soaker, it just drips out slowly. It's not like the spray, above ground spray. It's soaks in the ground.
Basically like a hose with holes in it, so it drips out of this.
Is it from rainwater, like one of those buckets?
No, it's an irrigation system.
It's a soaker hose. You might see it as a soaker hose, where
When actual
the water drips out of the hose itself.
As part of this offer, there's a system that, it's a weather sensor to only be activated when necessary. And so we've considered the cost, and we would like it to be as little as possible, but we really think that this is necessary to keep the Lincroft Village green. That's our objective. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you. We'll get in touch. Any other members of the public wishing to make any
So that-
remarks?
The inside of the walkway area, it's about 34,000 square feet. Just ballpark. I used a cheating scale. 34,000? So 2,190 is close. 2,198 square yards is about right. So it's about 3/4 of an acre. Yes, 3/4 of an acre.
Yep.
Okay, any other members of the public wishing to make a comment? Seeing no other members of the public wishing to make comment, I move to close the public portion and to adjourn.
Committeeman Fiore.
Yes.
Committeeman Massell.
Yes.
Committeeman Sharpenberg.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sedambrino. Mayor Murray.